My family insisted I come to terms with my wife's infidelity. I took the money and disappeared to exact my revenge 5 years later. In my past, I held the conviction that marriage was founded on trust, that love in its purest form could safeguard my dignity. I admit my mistake. My name is James Walker, and this tale unfolds with betrayal, leading to a quest for revenge that transformed me into a person I never thought I could become. 5 days ago, I found myself at the kitchen counter, Lily Brooks's iPad in my grasp, engrossed in a group chat that was never intended for my eyes. My wife Lauren Mitchell, her sister Megan Price, and their mother Patricia White had designated it as a gathering for family only. The messages loomed over me, a relentless echo from months, even years past, taunting my every thought. "He's merely a soft touch," Lauren Mitchell penned. "He won't do anything," Megan Price remarked with a playful laugh emoji. "Deplete his resources while the opportunity presents itself," Patricia White suggested. "He will never assert himself." They mocked my decision to decline a promotion in favor of cherishing more moments with Lily Brooks. They laughed at my unwavering trust. How I never dared to question Lauren Mitchell's so-called house renovations, which were nothing more than indulgent spa weekends, extravagant shopping sprees, or, even more scandalously, affairs. Yet, what truly pierced my heart was not the financial loss, but the disdain, the indifference, the subtle creeping malevolence that transformed each of my sacrifices into a cruel punchline. At that moment, it seemed sufficient for me to initiate divorce proceedings, to reach out to a lawyer and sever all ties with them. Yet, a sudden shift occurred within me. I came to the understanding that departing was not an option for me. I had to demonstrate to them the true nature of breaking a man's faith and the folly of believing he would remain subdued afterward. For as long as I can recall, I have embodied the role of the nice guy, the gentle father, the trusting husband. They had never paused to contemplate the consequences of that unassuming, compliant man unleashing genuine fury. As the night enveloped Lauren Mitchell in slumber, I found myself fixated on the ceiling, a hollow ache of betrayal coursing through me. My heart raced, my fists tightened, and a strange heaviness settled in my chest. As I pondered Lily Brooks, the sole connection I had to virtue, it became clear that regardless of the circumstances, my duty was to safeguard her. I needed to guarantee that she would never become a mere instrument in Lauren Mitchell's plots or Patricia White's deceptions. I was determined to ensure they felt the weight of every smug, self-satisfied message exchanged in that family-only chat. 2 days later, my daughter inquired, "Daddy, why does Mommy's friend visit when you're not around?" With the phone cradled in my hand, I took a moment to reflect. "Which friend are you referring to, darling?" "The towering figure. Lily Brooks remarked that he possesses a ring identical to yours and Mommy's. He arrives during your hours at the office. He consistently brings coffee for Mom, and they engage in conversation within the confines of a room. At times, laughter escapes them. I overheard Mother refer to him as Brandon Reed or something along those lines. The moment I heard the name Brandon Reed, it resonated within me. Brandon Reed, my cherished companion through the years. We had shared our childhoods, intertwined in the fabric of each other's lives. It was at a birthday barbecue for Megan Price that he first introduced me to Lauren Mitchell. He lingered in the background, a constant presence, his laughter echoing through the air. A vivid memory washed over me, recalling how Lauren Mitchell would gaze at him, the delicate change in her stance whenever he entered our gatherings. In the past, I had never dared to question it. Yet now, the fragments of the puzzle fell into place. Lauren Mitchell was unfaithful with my closest companion. A chilling darkness surged within me, an unsettling wave rising in my core. Once Lily Brooks dashed away to indulge in her cartoons, I carefully positioned a discreet motion-activated camera in the living room, its lens cleverly concealed behind a vase. Lauren Mitchell, brimming with confidence in my ignorance, remained blissfully unaware. At the stroke of noon the following day, my phone vibrated with a sudden urgency. As I was meant to be immersed in my duties, Brandon Reed's silver truck made its entrance. He entered with a grin, a spark of mischief in his eyes. The scene captured them sharing a kiss in the foyer, the curtains drawn wide open. He donned his wedding ring, a harsh reminder of his union with Allison Hayes. They lingered in my bedroom for 2 hours. He stepped out, adjusted his shirt, and departed. I remained silent, my eyes fixed on the screen, as a shadowy sensation twisted within me. My attorney referred to it as financial abuse. At that moment, it was a profound sense of betrayal and infidelity, orchestrated by none other than my closest companion. That evening, I caught a glimpse of Lauren Mitchell engaged in a conversation with Patricia White over the phone. She laughed, knowing he would never dare to confront her. Next week, we shall bring everything to a close. As soon as his bonus arrives, I will present him with the papers and claim the house. What is he going to do, Weep? My chest constricted, yet her arrogance served as the spark that ignited my fury. Silence has ended, and compliance is a thing of the past. I would bide my time, allowing them to advance, and then reveal the depths of my true potential. My patience shall be the final act of my benevolence. Upon my meeting with my attorney, Victoria Reed, I presented all the details with clarity: the captured images, the recorded visuals, the written records. She scrutinized every fragment, her eyes widening in astonishment. She stated that you possess a compelling case for divorce, along with the possibility of criminal charges. I require some time to untangle everything, but James Walker, this matter is of utmost importance. They are methodically stripping you of your possessions. I desire more than mere cessation, I responded. My voice resonated with an unusual depth, carrying a harsher edge. I desire retribution for each and every one of them. Victoria Reed cast a discerning gaze in my direction. Remain compliant with the regulations, James Walker. Your anger is palpable, and justly so, but maintain your focus. I exited her office, enveloped in a tranquility that hinted at the tempest to come. I had no intention of engaging in any unlawful activities. I intended to accomplish it all, yet only within the confines set before me. Yet, my encounter with Thea would be far from something a lawyer could tidy up. I had reached my limit, no longer allowing them to mistake my kindness for weakness. The anticipation of Patricia White's grand family dinner hung in the air. Lauren Mitchell, Megan Price, Patricia White, and all those regarded as part of their clan would gather there. Each month, they convened for their cherished ritual, exchanging whispers and maintaining the facade of their lives. With a carefully crafted scheme in place, I made the decision to attend. I made arrangements for Lily Brooks to spend the night with a friend. I longed for her to be distant from the potential consequences that loomed ahead. My inner conflict revolved around the most effective way to unveil them, every last one, when the ideal moment finally arrived. At the grocery store, I encountered Thomas Bennett, Megan Price's husband, who inquired, "Are you coming to the dinner, man?" His tone carried a veneer of politeness, yet lurking beneath his words was a sharpness that hinted at something more. I found myself pondering the extent of his knowledge regarding Megan Price's role in the theft from me. Was he aware that she was channeling my funds into concealed accounts? Indeed, I replied, a faint smile gracing my lips. I wouldn't dream of missing it. Thomas Bennett regarded me for a moment. He let out a laugh that felt more like a compulsion than a genuine expression of joy. Looking forward to our meeting, my friend. Unbeknownst to him, a storm was brewing on the horizon. Nor did the others. On Saturday night, I found myself at Patricia White's expansive residence, a domain that exuded affluence, yet offered nothing more than a facade. Lofty hedges, immaculate driveway, ivory columns. Yet, beneath the gleaming surface, decay, deceit, and cunning schemes lurk. As I approached the door, Megan Price welcomed me with a warm smile. "James Walker," she murmured, her smile radiating with an almost blinding brightness. "It brings me great joy that you were able to join us. Lauren Mitchell is inside, assisting her mother with the roast. It promises to be a splendid experience." I nodded, anticipation bubbling within me. Within the confines of the kitchen, Patricia White and Lauren Mitchell danced gracefully, their movements light and airy. Patricia White carried herself with a regal demeanor, shoulders squared, chin elevated, reminiscent of a sovereign in command. Lauren Mitchell donned a light, airy dress, her cheeks aglow as if she had been toiling away with fervor. Yet, she had not toiled with integrity for years, ever since she realized she could bend my will for financial gain. "James Walker," Lauren Mitchell said, her voice smooth and inviting. "How thoughtful of you to arrive just after your shift. This is Dal. Why not take a seat in the living room? Megan Price is set to deliver a refreshing beverage for you." I managed to maintain a serene smile as I took the glass of iced tea from Megan Price, deliberately overlooking the sharp, conspiratorial looks she and her mother shared, as though they were plotting an intricate design behind the scenes. As we convened around the grand dining table, Patricia White assumed command. "Shall we take a moment to recount the highlights of our week?" she suggested. "Lauren Mitchell, my dear, why don't you take the lead?" Lauren Mitchell let her hair cascade with a graceful flick. "I have been meticulously fine-tuning the last elements of my entrepreneurial endeavor. I intended to keep it a secret, yet the urge to share has become too strong to ignore. It promises to generate significant income." She placed a hand on my arm, relying on my wonderful husband to be my support. Every syllable dripped with arrogance. They believed they had me trapped, a submissive partner, an easily manipulated purse. Unbeknownst to them, I had meticulously gathered cameras, bank statements, and a mountain of evidence, all neatly arranged in Victoria Reed office, poised to explode in the courtroom during the divorce proceedings. Yet, the dinner transcended mere exposure. I yearned for something more, a visceral clash, an opportunity for them to truly see me, to understand that their misconceptions about me had come to an end. The conversation was abruptly halted by the sound of a doorbell. Before Megan Price had the chance to rise, I rose with a sense of calm. I shall take care of it. As I swung the door open, I was greeted by the sight of a courier I had engaged, clutching a stack of manila envelopes. I offered him a courteous nod, and then he disappeared. The family gazed in bewilderment as I stepped inside, clutching the envelopes, each one marked with a name that held significance. My heart raced with fervor. The sound of my blood surged like a tempest in my ears, yet on the surface I appeared calm. "Before we indulge in dessert, I wish to share something with all of you," I announced, setting the envelopes beside each plate. "What is this about?" Patricia White demanded, her eyes narrowing. "Proceed," I urged. "Unveil them." Indeed, they did. One by one, gasps escaped lips, curses slipped through clenched teeth, and wide-eyed horror unfurled around the table. Lauren Mitchell's complexion drained of color. Megan Price's jaw dropped in astonishment. Patricia White's lips pressed together, forming a tight, colorless line. Even Thomas Bennett, Megan Price's husband, appeared visibly unsettled as he sifted through an endless array of logs, statements, screenshots, and photos. Everything was laid bare, with bank statements revealing tens of thousands drained from my personal accounts, purportedly for home renovations. Images from the private family chat ridiculing me, plotting ways to exploit my resources. Photographs capturing Brandon Reed's arrival at my doorstep on the days I was away at work, each marked with a timestamp and date. Exchanges between Megan Price and Lauren Mitchell regarding the divorce strategy, contingent upon the acquisition of my annual bonus. Patricia White's emails deftly orchestrate these manipulations for optimal advantage. "What on earth is this?" Megan Price let out a sharp hiss, her voice quivering with emotion. Lauren Mitchell's eyes overflowed with a sense of urgency. "James Walker, what prompted you to take this action? This matter is confidential." "Taking from me was a clandestine act," I remarked, my voice echoing in the stillness. "Engaging in infidelity with my closest companion was, I suppose, a matter that concerned you as well. Yet, you claimed it as your own when you turned me into a jest." Patricia White struck the table with a forceful thud. "Your actions were unjustified." "I had every right," I retorted, leaning in closer, my gaze fixed on the woman who had shown my wife the art of deception. "Do you truly believe you can strip me of everything and belittle me in secret?" "I possess the right to collect evidence, Patricia White, and I have done so with great diligence." Across the table, Megan Price's husband, Thomas Bennett, bore the expression of a man who had just been dealt a devastating blow to the gut. "Megan Price, are these the bank logs for our account?" Megan Price recoiled, her words faltering. "Thomas Bennett, my dear, it's not as it appears. You are channeling his funds, my funds." He raised a page aloft. "You secured a second mortgage on our home?" Megan Price remained silent. Her gaze locked onto mine, her expression contorted in a way that spoke volumes. "You bastard," she whispered. "Everything has been shattered." "No, Megan Price," I whispered softly. "Everything has been ruined. I took the necessary steps to ensure you wouldn't escape the consequences." Once more, the chime of the doorbell echoed from the foyer. My blood froze in my veins. Yet another unexpected visitor. A part of me had an inkling of who it could be. I had a lingering expectation that he might appear, despite the fact that I hadn't extended an invitation. Lauren Mitchell sprang to her feet, quickly adjusting her dress with a flurry of movement. I'll take care of it, she stammered. I pursued her, the whole family in tow. With a swift motion, Lauren Mitchell threw open the door to reveal Brandon Reed, a figure caught between hesitation and resolve. Clad in a black leather jacket, his hair tousled, he bore an expression that danced between guilt and defiance. Lauren Mitchell, he murmured gently. I wanted to have a conversation. He glimpsed me beyond her shoulder, his eyes growing wide with surprise. James Walker, he said, swallowing hard. Listen, my friend, I understand how this appears. An intense surge of rage coursed through me. That was my closest companion. His voice resonated with a haunting familiarity, steeped in memories of camping trips, high school pranks, and best man speeches, now tainted by a bitter edge. My jaw tightened with such intensity that I feared my teeth would shatter. Why are you here, Brandon Reed? I inquired, my voice betraying none of the turmoil beneath. He cast a fleeting look at Lauren Mitchell. I regained consciousness, only to find myself being further manipulated. My voice began to rise. As he stepped into my home once more in my absence, a fleeting look of panic swept across his features. It's a complex situation. Lauren Mitchell mentioned that you both were essentially apart. How dare you lie, I growled. I possess recordings of you in my bedroom during my absence at work. My daughter inquired about the frequent visits from Mommy's friend. His complexion drained of color. James Walker, I implore you to grasp the situation. Stop, I commanded, advancing with purpose, dismissing Lauren Mitchell's desperate cries echoing around me. Only your betrayal remains to be comprehended. The former version of myself, the one who easily yielded, would have sought to negotiate or simply turned away. Yet that subdued, agreeable man shattered the instant I laid eyes on my so-called best friend, with his hands encircling my wife within the confines of my own home. My fists clenched with intensity. It dawned on Brandon Reed, but only after the moment had slipped away, what was about to unfold. He lifted his hands in a gesture of appeasement, yet I surged forward, thrusting my shoulder into his midsection and propelling him forcefully against the doorframe. The sharp sound of splintering wood reverberated throughout the home. With a piercing scream, Megan Price cried out, while Patricia White's voice rang out in a desperate plea, urging them to cease this chaos. Yet, I found myself not paying attention. I seized a fistful of Brandon Reed's jacket and unleashed a reckless punch that landed squarely on his jaw. The ache in my knuckles surged, yet it was a strange pleasure, almost intoxicating. Brandon Reed faltered, and I pressed forward, delivering a swift strike across his cheek. He endeavored to find his footing, shifting sideways from the threshold and onto the front porch. James Walker, this is utterly unbelievable. It's justice, I whispered, my heart racing. Every moment you clasped my hand, a smile gracing your lips, while your true intentions lurked in the shadows. Did you really believe I would simply acquiesce and endure it indefinitely? He reached for my arm, but I deftly twisted away, landing a sharp kick to the back of his knee. He fell to the ground, muttering curses under his breath. I loomed above him, my chest rising and falling with each labored breath. Lauren Mitchell cried out, "Stop! You're going to end his life!" "Amusing," I snarled, fixing her with a fierce gaze. "Your concern was never for me, only for him." Every fiber of my being trembled with a surge of adrenaline. Brandon Reed coughed violently, a spray of crimson staining the porch beneath him. It failed to soothe the storm within me. Visions of him grinning at summer barbecues, tossing playful jabs at my expense while sharing intimate moments with my wife swirled in my thoughts. I lowered myself, seizing a handful of his hair. "You're done," I whispered, my voice quaking with rage. "Do you hear me?" Completed. Just as I was about to deliver another strike, powerful arms encircled my chest, with Thomas Bennett and another figure yanking me away. "James Walker, that will suffice," Thomas Bennett gasped. "He simply isn't worth your time, my friend." Brandon Reed fought to regain his footing, propping himself against the porch rail, a crimson stream escaping his lips. His eyes gleamed with fear. He had never witnessed me in this light, nor had any of them. I allowed Thomas Bennett and the others to pull me back indoors, my breath escaping in uneven, labored bursts. Lauren Mitchell hurried to Brandon Reed, brushing aside the chaos unfolding with her mother and sister. Patricia White was vociferously insisting on contacting the authorities. "Summon them," I declared with a sharp edge. "We shall observe their reaction to the evidence I have meticulously gathered concerning your entire family." "Proceed, Patricia White." She stood still, her phone lifted halfway. "Are you implying a threat against us? Is it menacing?" A harsh laugh escaped my lips. "Merely expressing a truth. Should you decide to involve the authorities, prepare to confront a deluge of accusations, fraud, theft, conspiracy, and potentially even more. It seems inevitable that I will find myself facing charges for assault. Yet, I shall be aware that each of your hidden truths is documented for all to see. And I assure you, I will exit that station long before you manage to extricate yourself from your troubles." For an extended stretch of time, silence reigned, and stillness enveloped the scene. Megan Price sank into a chair, her face buried in her hands. Patricia White shot a piercing glance, her silence heavy as the phone slipped from her grasp, falling to her side. The only sound that pierced the silence was Lauren Mitchell's soft sobs, mingling with the quiet urgency as Brandon Reed tended to his split lip, blood staining his fingers. Thomas Bennett, in a moment of frustration, ran his hands over his face. "This is utterly astonishing. Megan Price, did you truly plot alongside them to pilfer funds from James Walker?" With tears glistening in her eyes, she nodded, only to unleash a sudden burst of fury as she spat at me. "This didn't need to unfold in such a public manner. Wouldn't it be better if you simply slipped away in silence?" "What is the reason for me to do so?" I retorted, my hands moving animatedly. "What reason do I have to depart silently after everything you all have done? It was never sufficient merely to swindle me out of my funds, was it? You felt the need to belittle me, to mock me, to label me as weak in your private conversation. Have you ever pondered the consequences when someone labeled a pushover finally stands their ground?" In the stillness, even Patricia White, who typically overflowed with sharp retorts, fell silent. The atmosphere buzzed with an electric charge as the very bedrock of their deceitful existence crumbled beneath them. Lauren Mitchell guided Brandon Reed as he teetered through the doorway, gently lowering him onto the sofa. He averted his eyes, delicately touching his bruised cheek. She faced me, her cheeks glistening with tears. "James Walker, I'm so sorry," she murmured, her voice trembling. "It just unfolded. Brandon Reed was present, and you." She took a deep breath, her throat tightening. "Your distance has left me feeling isolated within our marriage. Do not even think of placing this burden on my shoulders," I spat with venom. "In your time of need, I offered my support with financial assistance. In moments when you sought time, I offered that as well. I poured my heart and soul into everything for you, Lauren Mitchell. And yet, all I received in return was scorn and ridicule. It was all part of your scheme." A spark of fury ignited within her gaze. "Very well, you know what? Indeed, we ridiculed you, and your inability to perceive it was evident. Yet you were never meant to transform into this creature. Monster!" I let out a laugh that echoed emptily. "You crafted that beast with your own hands, Lauren Mitchell. Did you truly believe I desired to embark on this path? I was left with no alternative. You cast me into the wild, and in turn, I embraced the wild within." Her body trembled with a tumult of fury and hopelessness. "You'll never win custody of Lily Brooks," she hissed. "A father resorting to violence against others? No judge would place their trust in you." I allowed that moment to linger. Then with a sense of tranquility, I reached into my pocket. The screen of my phone illuminated the messages exchanged between her and Patricia White, revealing their scheme to provoke a violent outburst from me, a tactic they intended to use to assert claims of abuse in divorce court. Yet I possessed timestamps for that as well, along with a multitude of recordings capturing her financial transgressions and even footage of her entanglement with Brandon Reed. "You will lose it all," I warned. "Should you attempt to wield Lily Brooks as a pawn in your negotiations, prepare to face a deluge of legal repercussions." My voice fell to a quivering whisper. "Do not even think about it." Lauren Mitchell's expression shifted, and in that moment I glimpsed a fear that transcended the immediate clash. She came to understand that the once protective father was poised to transform into her greatest adversary in the impending custody battle. The roast Patricia White had meticulously prepared remained untouched by all. Instead, we found ourselves gathered in that expansive living room, where accusations and sorrow intertwined in the air. Brandon Reed fixed his gaze on the ground, a flicker of pain crossing his face as crimson droplets fell onto his jacket. Megan Price continued to weep softly. Patricia White's expression was somber, her meticulously crafted mask shattered. At last, Patricia White took a deep breath, her voice quivering as she struggled to maintain her composure. Let us all take a moment to breathe and find our composure. James Walker, might we explore the terms together? In the end, we are all bound by the ties of family. Not anymore, I declared, resolute and unyielding. I refuse to resolve this behind closed doors. I find myself with no alternative. Thomas Bennett fixed his gaze upon Megan Price. It's hard to fathom that you would go through with this. Our finances, our existence, for this deception? Megan Price appeared utterly forlorn. Mother assured me it was a certainty. Lauren Mitchell mentioned that you wouldn't even realize. I, she crumbled, tears cascading. Yet I felt no compassion. Her tears flowed, not from a place of regret for the pain caused, but rather from the realization of being discovered. Patricia White massaged her temples, her gaze darting toward me. A path must exist, a means to repay you, to express our sincerest apologies. What shall I receive in return? I insisted. The funds you once possessed have vanished. I perceive no forthcoming apology that isn't intertwined with additional falsehoods. Her lips sealed in silence. We must engage in thoughtful consideration. I severed ties with her. Let me outline the unfolding events. I have taken the step to file for divorce. The court documents have been completed. Your service will arrive shortly. My foremost priority is to safeguard Lily Brooks's best interests. The issue of fraud stands apart from the rest. My attorney is in the process of preparing to file criminal charges. The family-only group chat will undoubtedly serve as a captivating focal point for the prosecution, particularly the segments detailing the forgery of my signature and the misappropriation of my funds. Patricia White's cheeks turned a delicate shade of crimson. Would you truly consider sending the mother of your child to prison? You are a creature of darkness. She was the one who pulled herself there, I remarked with a calm demeanor. Perhaps there exists a possibility for a plea bargain. You must consult with your legal advisors. Megan Price grasped her abdomen, a pallor washing over her face. What of my existence? My eyes flickered toward her. Thomas Bennett, should you wish to accompany me, I shall introduce you to my attorney. The evidence is there for you to observe firsthand. He nodded in silence, his devastation evident. Megan Price appeared to fold in on herself, becoming ever smaller within the confines of the armchair. A twinge of sympathy stirred within me for him. He had entered this nest of deceit just as I had. Brandon Reed found his footing, relying on Lauren Mitchell for support. He made an effort to catch my gaze. James Walker found himself at a loss for words, utterly devoid of anything that might mend the situation. I averted my gaze from him. The attack, with adrenaline coursing through my veins, provided a dark sense of fulfillment. I had transformed into a version of myself I never imagined possible, a person who perceives betrayal and responds with ruthless force. I gestured towards Patricia White. Please refrain from calling me. Do not even think about trying to sway Lily Brooks without my knowledge. Utter her name with even a hint of disrespect, and I assure you, the authorities will be at your door in no time. Is that clear? She swallowed hard, a flicker of fear dancing in her eyes. Indeed, I found myself turning to Lauren Mitchell. Her tears had ceased, giving way to an empty gaze. Gather your belongings from my home, I murmured softly. Remain by your mother's side or choose to be with him. I tilted my chin toward Brandon Reed. However, you shall not enter that house unless it is during a scheduled visitation, or you arrive accompanied by an officer to collect your possessions. Your days of ease are now behind you. Lauren Mitchell parted her lips, only to close them again. She had been defeated, and she was acutely aware of it. In a matter of days, Victoria Reed unleashed a torrent of paperwork, including restraining orders, custody motions, and lawsuits for fraud and theft. Megan Price's husband collaborated with us, revealing additional concealed funds and more inventive methods by which Patricia White and Lauren Mitchell had pilfered. The net tightened swiftly around its prey, Brandon Reed made an attempt to reach out to me. Just once. I chose not to respond. A voicemail was left by him. I understand I made a mistake, yet we mustn't allow it to conclude in this manner. Our friendship has endured since that moment, when I chose to erase it, leaving my responses unspoken. Certain betrayals linger in the shadows, forever beyond the reach of forgiveness. The news traveled swiftly. Patricia White, Lauren Mitchell's mother, found herself the subject of an investigation for masterminding a series of financial schemes throughout the years, which included the forgery of signatures from other family members to secure lines of credit. Megan Price's breakdown escalated as Thomas Bennett immobilized their finances, initiating his own legal battles against her. Their opulent way of life crumbled. In the case of Brandon Reed, his wife Allison Hayes discovered the truth. She had her suspicions, yet she could never have imagined that it would be I who brought the truth to light. She initiated the divorce proceedings and took their 2 children with her. She adopted a ruthless strategy, reaching out to every mutual acquaintance to inform them of Brandon Reed's actions. In the span of a mere month, my once tranquil suburban existence erupted into a chaotic whirlwind of legal depositions, property transfers, and rather ironically, hush money. Lauren Mitchell, Megan Price, and Patricia White endeavored to present me with settlement proposals. Victoria Reed turned them all away, insisting on the highest possible compensation. She assured me that I would acquire more than I had ever envisioned. Yet, financial gain was not my foremost priority. Belle existed. I firmly advocated for primary custody, highlighting Lauren Mitchell's established history of manipulation and deceit. The family court judge, after examining the evidence presented, awarded me sole custody while awaiting further review. Lauren Mitchell was granted supervised visitation, a decision made by the court due to concerns that she might emotionally manipulate Belle or potentially abduct her. It was a drastic step, yet her treachery transcended mere monetary concerns. She had schemed to employ Belle as a pawn in the divorce proceedings. That was sufficient to shift the balance in my favor. Weeks morphed into months. I discovered a new home nestled in a respectable neighborhood, unpretentious yet genuine, transformed Belle's room into a canvas of her chosen hue, enrolled her in after-school art programs. I endeavored to provide her with a life that felt as ordinary as it could be. Lauren Mitchell attempted to reshape her narrative before the judge, asserting that my explosive reaction at Patricia White's residence demonstrated my inadequacy as a father. However, Victoria Reed meticulously deconstructed that argument, presenting the evidence of Lauren Mitchell's affair alongside months of text messages where Lauren Mitchell jested about deliberately provoking me to later use it against him. The court displayed scant compassion for Lauren Mitchell and her mother. Charges concerning theft and fraud lingered in the air, and I stood ready to take the stand against them should the situation demand it. One evening, following a custody hearing, Lauren Mitchell approached me in the dimly lit courthouse hallway. Her mascara streaked down her cheeks, her hair fell in disarray, and she bore the weary signs of sleepless nights. "James Walker," she murmured gently, "I apologize for it all. I understand it may be a moment past, yet I find myself unwilling to part with Belle." "You must realize that I never intended to stop," I interjected, my voice slicing through the air. "I'm no longer that easily deceived individual." She began to weep. The former version of myself would have offered her comfort, expressed regret for her sorrow, yet I remained transfixed, contemplating the way she had coerced Belle into fabricating stories about me, how she had schemed to drain our finances, and the way she had ridiculed me. "You initiated this," I remarked with a chill in my voice. "Now you must face the consequences." With that, I turned and departed. A week later, Brandon Reed confronted me outside a local diner, the faint scar on his cheek, a lingering reminder of our last encounter. He appeared gaunter, his cheeks sunken, as though existence had squeezed every ounce from him. "James Walker," he said, his voice trembling, "I just want to express my apologies. I've lost it all. Allison Hayes, my children, my career, everything that mattered. I made a mistake, perhaps fueled by intoxication or folly, or maybe a blend of the two. Lauren Mitchell was in need of companionship, and I was there for her." I shut the car door with a forceful thud, advancing until our faces were mere inches apart. He recoiled. "You exploited the situation," I spat, "and you carried it on for months. It wasn't merely a single night of intoxication. He gulped down his regret, the weight of shame palpable upon him. I can't take it back, he whispered, but we were friends for so long. If you can muster the strength to forgive yourself, I released a bitter laugh. My trust was a gift I offered you, Brandon Reed, and you chose to tarnish it. Do you seek my sympathy after the loss of your family? He nodded, tears welling in his eyes as he confessed, I have none left to give. Very well, I shall refrain from troubling you further. In a fleeting moment of utter desperation, he reached out and touched my arm. I nearly threw another punch at him. Please, he said, if you happen to see Allison Hayes, could you let her know that I'm sorry? I dismissed him with a shrug. Your pursuit of redemption is your own affair. Prove your worth, but don't expect it from my hands. He departed, shoulders slumped, a shattered remnant of the proud companion I once recognized. And perhaps, hidden beneath the layers of animosity, there lingered a faint glimmer of sorrow for the bond we once shared. Those days of being inseparable childhood friends, yet he had shattered that connection, and so I allowed him to slip away from my existence without uttering another syllable. Several months passed, and the divorce was officially concluded. The court granted me the lion's share of our shared assets, encompassing a substantial sum from the sale of our former residence, a portion of which had to be retrieved through legal intervention. Lauren Mitchell found herself entangled in criminal charges, alongside Megan Price and Patricia White. Plea bargains were being negotiated. Lily Brooks, in the meantime, was flourishing, embracing a new school, engaging in fresh activities, and enjoying a father who was finally present in every conceivable way.